Okay, so we are going to finish up our foldable. We are going to leave the back side, but that's basically because we've ran out of time. So, turn to the last flap of your foldable. It should look like this, and it says angle of elevation. It is the angle formed by a horizontal line and line of sight to point above an object. So whenever it looks like this, it's the angle of elevation. So if you have something like this, and this is the ground, so if there was, grass growing here, this is grass. And this is you looking above. This right here, this angle, is your angle of elevation. The next part says angle of depression. The angle formed by a horizontal line and a line of sight to point below an object. So if you're up in the air, so this is up in the air, there's some clouds up here, and you look down below, like if you're in an airplane or something, you look below, this angle right here would be your angle of depression. And you can actually have two of them together, so if you have that, it looks like this, so it would be kind of like a backwards Z. And this right here would be your angle of depression. And this right here would be your angle of elevation. So, angle of depression and angle of elevation. Elevation and depression are the same because of alternate interior angles. So this angle right here and this angle right here would be the same. Trig can be used in all right triangle problems, including 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90 triangles. So you can still use trig to do those special right triangles as well. So it says a 6-foot vertical pole casts a shadow of 11 feet. What is the angle of elevation from the ground? So you have a pole. It casts a shadow on the ground. And the shadow is 11 feet. What is this angle here? And it is a 6-foot vertical pole, so we know that this is 6 feet. And we're looking at feet here. So, from this angle, we know this one that's right next to it is called the adjacent. The side across from the angle is called the opposite side. And, of course, write your SOHCAHTOA. So now we have SOHCAHTOA. Which one is opposite and adjacent? It is, of course, tangent. So we have tan of some unknown angle, we don't know what it is yet, is equal to opposite over adjacent, so 6 over 11. And again, you use your calculator, it's x is equal to tan with a little -1 of 6 over 11. So get out your calculator. Don't forget to go to your mode and change it to degrees if it's not already. Mine already is, but if it wasn't, arrow over, hit enter, make it highlighted. Second mode to quit. And then, since we're doing tangent to the little -1, second tan, 6 divided by 11, close your parentheses, enter. So 28.6, and since we are doing the angle, we round to the nearest degree, so it's really 29 degrees. Angie looks up at 25 degrees to see an airplane flying. So this angle right here is 25 degrees toward her. If the plane is flying at an altitude of 3.5 miles, so this is 3.5 miles, how far is it from being directly above Angie? So how far across this way is it? Of course, this is like a rectangle, so that also means that we're looking for this side. So whenever we look at this triangle, we're looking for this angle, and we're going to use SOHCAHTOA. So this side across from here is, of course, opposite. And this side right here next to the angle is, of course, adjacent. So which one uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent uses opposite and adjacent. So we're looking for the tangent of 25 is equal to, and tangent, of course, is opposite over adjacent, so 3.5 over x. And I told you guys, anytime that you have a variable in the denominator, you just simply switch these two. So x is equal to, wow, that's supposed to be tan, with 3.5 on top. So get out your calculator, and it is 3.5 divided by the tangent of 25. Enter. And we always round this to the nearest hundredth. Well, right after my hundredths place is a 5, so we need to round this up. So it's not 7.50, it's 7.51. And since it is a word problem, we need to know what we're talking about. So 7.51 miles. It is 7.51 miles away from her. Well, from me directly above her head. So we need to rewrite our SOHCAHTOA so I can see it. You guys won't necessarily need to rewrite it because y'all can see it. Lauren is at the top of a 15-meter lookout tower. From an angle of depression of 25 degrees, she sees Evan coming towards her. How far is Evan from the base of the tower? So we have a tower. Lauren's up here. Evan's down here. And it is a 15-meter lookout tower. She sees him. From an angle of 25 degrees, and it's angle of depression, so she's looking down. So this is 25 degrees. How far is Evan from the base of the tower? So how far is Evan away from the base of the tower? So we're looking for this. So we're at our 25. This 15 is right next to our 25, so this is the adjacent. And the x is across from our 25, so this is our opposite. So we're looking at opposite and adjacent, which is tangent. So the tangent of 25 is equal to opposite over adjacent, so x over 15. And whenever our variable is in the numerator, you just move this right around to the front and multiply. So 15 times the tangent of 25 is equal to x. So get out your calculator. (15) times tan 25, close parentheses, enter, and it's 6.994, so it's 6.99 what? Meters. So he is 6.99 meters away from the tower. A kite is flying at an angle of 63 degrees with the ground. If all 250 feet of the string are out and there is no sag in the string, how high is the kite? So we have a kite. And it's flying. And you're on the ground with the kite. And here's the ground. The kite string is 250 feet. And the kite is flying at an angle of 63 degrees with the ground. So I'm assuming that, yeah, so this is 63 degrees. How high is the kite? So how high up is the kite right here? So since we are looking for this degree, of course, across from my 90-degree angle is always our hypotenuse. And the x is across from what we're looking at, so this is opposite. So which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? Sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. So the sine of 63 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so x over 250. Since the variable is up top, we're going to multiply this around front. So 250, 50, that's a 5, times the sine of 63 equals x. Get out your calculator. 250 times sine of 63 equals 222.751, so 0.75. 222.75 feet. That's how high up the kite is. Joey is putting up an antenna. At the 30-foot mark, he attaches a 50-foot guy wire. What angle does the guy wire form with the antenna? So he's putting up an antenna. They usually look like this. And the guy wire is just a wire that helps to hold it up. So it's at 30 feet up. Is from this wire to the bottom. He attaches a 50-foot wire, so this whole wire is 50 feet. What angle does the guy wire form with the antenna? So what angle is this right here? Of course, across from our 90-degree angle is always our hypotenuse. Since we're looking at this angle, this side is right next to it, so this is adjacent. So what uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse. So the cosine of x, because we don't know what that angle is, equals adjacent over hypotenuse, so 30 over 50. And whenever we don't know the degree, we have to use the little -1. 30 over 50. Get out your calculator. Second cosine 30 divided by 50. Close your parentheses. Enter. And our degree, remember degrees, we round to the nearest degree, so it is 53 degrees. The last one, a person at the top of a cliff, 100 feet tall, I'm assuming the cliff and not the person is 100 feet tall, sees Gilligan's boat. His sight of the boat is at an angle of depression of 10 degrees. How far is the boat from the base of the cliff? So there's a cliff base. A person's up here. And the whole cliff is 100 feet. He sees a boat. And the angle of depression is 10 degrees. How far is the boat from the base of the cliff? So, if this was straight down, how far would that be away? So this piece right here. So, since we know this angle, and we know this side is right next to this angle, the 100 is adjacent, and the side across from it is opposite. So opposite and adjacent use tangent. So the tangent A, that's an A, of 10 is equal to opposite over adjacent. So x over 100. And since it's in the denominator, you just stick it in the front and multiply. So 100 times tan of 10 is equal to x. Get out your calculator. 100 times tan of 10. 17.63, because it's a side, we went around in the nearest hundredth. 17.632, so 17.63. What? 17.63 feet. And that's the end of our foldable.